Real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Betty Schilling is best friends with the defendant's mother, and she claims the defendant has been in and out of prison. Betty says the defendant and her boyfriend stole jewelry from her and then offered to sell the stolen property back to Betty for $70. Betty is suing the defendant for breach of contract. Defendant Shannon Sunderman says the reason she was locked up most of her life is because her mother, who is testifying against her, did not want to deal with her. Shannon says Betty is suing her for more than she owes.
All right, tell me what happened.
I've known Shannon ever since she's been born. Her mother and I are best friends, and my family married into hers. So it's been an ongoing thing. Shannon's been in and out of trouble ever since she's been a wee little, between detention centers and finally in prison. Well, when she got out of prison, she had children, and we tried to help as much as we could with them.
Why do you think she was such a troubled kid?
I don't know, because her mother and grandmother and all were fantastic people. I just thought the world of her grandmother.
Were you a troubled kid?
I was locked up most of my life, not because of what I'd done, just because my mom chose to not deal with me.
Why?
She had a daughter and a son that she cared more about.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get in any trouble, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the street, I was basically in the street.
Right. That's why you went to prison.
Plaintiff Betty Schilling says the defendant is her best friend's daughter, and Betty claims after the defendant stole jewelry from her, she offered to sell it back to Betty for $70.
Go ahead.
Well, Shannon had children, and when she'd run into a problem or needed money or anything else, my husband and I would, try to help as much as we could. Well, she lost the children, and it just seemed like everything was going, like wrong in her life or something. And about 7 years ago, her boyfriend broke into my home, and I got a call from her telling me that I could have my stuff back, my jewelry especially, because that's really what I wanted, for $70. Well...
Hold on. Her boyfriend breaks in your house, steals your things, and she calls you back and say, hey, you can buy your stuff back from me for $70 that my boyfriend broke in your house and took.
Oh, I tried. My son-in-law and daughter went to meet them at a gas station. Anyways, it ended up, they got the $70 and I never got nothing. So as
Let me allow you to address this, ma'am.
First of all, Your Honor, I will not sit here and say that I have not been in trouble before. Yes, I have been in trouble before. As I said, showing that my mother is sitting here on her side instead of her own child's side shows the loyalty where it stands with her.
No, it shows you a criminal, and she don't want to be bothered with your criminal acts.
Your Honor.
You're a criminal. What are you
it's
talking
always
about?
been like this.
Just because somebody won't stick up for your criminal ways. Did you do what this woman said? Let's get to that. Did you do that?
I don't owe her any money, no.
No. Did you call her and try and sell her back jewelry that your boyfriend broke into her house?
No, Your Honor.
This is the first time you've ever heard of this?
Yeah, today. Actually, today when...
Good enough. All right. Why don't you tell me about all these crimes? Were you ever convicted of a crime?
Yes, I was.
How many?
I was convicted of receiving stolen property and misuse of a credit card.
How many times?
2.
Okay. You've been in front of a judge before, right?
Yes.
So you know not to do all that, else he'll throw you back in jail. You know how this goes. Go ahead, ma'am. How does she owe you $1,000?
Okay, Shannon came to live with us because she was evicted from her sister's house for non-payment of her rent, I guess.
Really?
She asked for us to take her in, so her mother and I talked, and her mother was living with me at the time. And we thought since Shannon had gone back to school after she got out of prison and got a job and all, that she was trying, to really go down the right path, and we thought we would be maybe able to help her in any way we could. Well, she lost her job, and she needed money for like her cell phone and different various things because she was suing the company she had worked for. And her mother ended up quitting her job, so I gave Shannon the money for her cell phone and various other things, prescriptions, you name it.
$1,000?
Well, it was over $1,000. And last year, Shannon and I had talked, and her mother, and I says, you know, Shannon, you owe me, you owe your mom, and you owe your sister, and I don't know anybody else, but give me $1,000 and we'll call it even. That way you can pay everybody else. She told us that she would give us our money when she got her settlement because she won her case against the company she had worked for and got her job back. She received her money in June, and I guess I was stupid, but I helped her move. I did, my grandson and granddaughter-to-be helped her move.
While she owed you the $1,000.
While she owed me the money.
After she had gotten her money, that's how she was able to move.
And I had talked to her about it, and she says, well, Betty, I have received 2 checks. One I cashed so I could pay the rent on this house and everything and get the things I needed to move with. She says, this other check is a little bit short, and I talked to the attorney, and they're going to try to get it straightened out, but told me not to cash a check until they did, or I wouldn't get the extra $100 or $200 that was owing. And I says, oh, okay. And she says, but it'll just be a few days, maybe a week at the most. Well, it kept going and going and going, and I called her again. And every time I talked to her, she says, well, it'll be a few days longer, blah, blah, blah. And finally, her ex-boyfriend came over to the house because he knows my grandson. And he says, Betty, if you think you're going to get that money, you're badly mistaken. He says, she already cashed a check and blew it.
Plaintiff Betty Schilling says the defendant is her best friend's daughter. And Betty claims after the defendant stole jewelry from her, she offered to sell it back to Betty for $70.
All right, ma'am.
With that settlement money, I had to move into a home that was stable to be able to regain custody of my daughters. So yes, that money, and I explained that to Betty that I was unable.
Did she tell you that?
I knew that she had gone through it and she had to get the house, but that was to be out of the first check. The second check was supposed to be paying me and her mother. And when her mother even asked her for $20 after she got her settlement, she refused to give it to her mother.
No, I did not. I gave it to my sister to give to my mother. And my sister gave it to my mother, and my sister told me that.
What about her money?
I told her I didn't have it.
That was then. She said you got a second check.
No, I got one settlement in the amount of $4,800. I paid my landlord $2,800.
You admit owing her, man?
Huh?
You admit owing her the money?
Not $1,000. There's no way. I didn't even.
Did you ever agree to pay her $1,000?
No, I never agreed to pay her $1,000.
How much did you agree to pay her?
I told her I would pay her $150 because she did pay 3 months of my cell phone bill. Okay. I will admit that. I have no problem with that.
You want to speak, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Come on up. State your name.
My name's Tony Hammond, and Shannon's my daughter. Shannon had told Betty when she got her settlement, she would pay her. I know that, and Shannon knows that.
Okay.
She said, I will pay you as soon as I get my check.
Did you ever hear the amount, $1,000?
They agreed to $1,000.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
You are not
all right.
Here lying.
Well, ma'am, the problem you have is I have to determine who I want to believe. And they're so descriptive.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So
they drink coffee together all day. That's all they do is gossip.
Either she is a delusional con woman, or you are just a straight up liar.
I have, Your Honor, I have statements here of where she's saying that I owe her money, that people let me borrow the money for these things.
Other people?
And I repaid
Friends
them.
of yours?
No, my boss.
Somebody that hired you?
Yeah,
that's your witness?
Yeah.
Judgment for the plaintiff. Somebody hired you? I'm not believing you. Judgment for the plaintiff.
I just hope Shannon straightens out and raises her daughters to be the young ladies they should be.
Shannon, I love you, and you know you're wrong. Graham didn't raise us that way. Loyalty.
Graham, don't talk about Grandma. Don't talk about Grandma. You have nothing to say about Grandma.
But right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right, and you're wrong.
No, you're wrong.
No, you are, Shannon.